Hello, welcome to the 14th week of Advanced Design Communication. We're getting close to the end of the term. The point yet to be addressed and essential for a project to be well received is the way we're able to capture attention, meaning the method in which we set a presentation structure. This week's goal is helping you systematize your presentation and understand the key points for it to succeed. So, at the end of the week, you should have understood how to systematize a successful presentation, the stages the receiver goes through concerning a message, the AIDA model, the conventional contact path to gain airtime for a presentation, the importance of mastering the elevator pitch technique. There are three fundamental points to build a good presentation. Know your value proposition. It's important to know your goal and your project inside out, be it your business model or yourself as an individual, personal and professionally. Know who you're addressing, the organization or person you're interacting with. Find out what you have in common, your interests, and look for connection links in order to create the empathy needed to be successful. Be confident and concise. Show how much you believe in your project, but don't get lost in your passion. It's vital to be brief, objective, and concise in order to keep the interest and awake the desire in the addressee. Considering the 3 points mentioned previously, it's important to understand that when an individual deals with some sort of information, they will not make the same amount of time available for each stage. The AIDA model exemplifies this issue in a very interesting way and shows the mode we establish a relation with the information provided to us. AIDA stands for awareness, interest, desire, and action. These are the 4 stages you go through when people communicate with you, regardless of the way or method. First, it's important to call for awareness, also referred to as consciousness. This stage usually takes 3 to 6 seconds for content absorption. You can create attention through a title or image, or even through color. The following stage is interest. This means you've captured the attention desired. This stage will give the addressee 10 to 30 seconds to try to understand if they're interested in the specific content and to usually look for second-level information. For instance, in a billboard for an event, that could be when or where it will take place. The key point is desire, the next stage. The bigger the interest, the more time made available by the addressee to understand if they're willing to know more. The bigger the desire, the more information they'll look for. Triggering desire means creating empathy and being able to convey a set of values and feelings the receiver connects with. These may satisfy or trigger that existing need. If you're able to awaken that desire, your path is mostly completed. However, such effort will only pay off if your receiver does what's intended. This is the testing point, the action stage. If you reach this stage, you've won over the addressee and you've reached the decision-making success you've longed for, the accomplishment of your initial goal, hiring for a job vacancy or project investment or product and service acquisition. But how do you use a presentation to reach an action outcome? You resort to the previously mentioned key point. Communication doesn't have to be verbal nor in person. A simple billboard or infographic is considered communication. A phone call or an email is considered communication. Figuring out and defining a contact hierarchy with the receiver, who is to become a decision maker, as well as structuring communication when it comes to type, form, and method, is fundamental to achieve success. As a current conventional example, whether it is to look for a job or to commercially present a project, the first point to establish is finding out who the decision maker is. Repeatedly addressing people who cannot decide is tiring and frustrating. Look for the decision call. To do so, before you send anything or try to schedule an interview, make a phone call and find out the person's name and the direct contact. The standard procedure is informing that the person should send an email and try to call again later. This way you'll know who to ask for and you'll deliver the information more assertively. It's important to note that throughout the path, the information structure must be coherent, suited to the chosen method, and always concise. When writing an email, pay special attention to its subject. This should be direct and awaken curiosity. It should lead to opening and reading the email. In the beginning, you should point out the purpose of your contact. In the body of the email, you should explain the advantages you have to offer in a text suited for diagonal reading. Big decision makers don't have time to read in detail. They need to quickly absorb information. Avoid long texts. Be dynamic. Use your design skills and get creative. But most of all, keep the information simple. A footnote is relevant. Attached documents are initially ignored. Only when the body of the email triggers desire will the attached documents ever be opened. Always finish with an information which leads to action and make sure your contact details are easily found. A presentation in person in its structural core isn't far from the content sent in the email, but it does carry an advantage: your presence and body language. One of the most used techniques is the elevator pitch, which shouldn't exceed 90 seconds. It's called elevator pitch as the time big decision makers often have doesn't exceed the time of moving up and down between floors of a building. We suggest you see the resources made available this week to know more about how to address this technique. This first sentence should always sum what will follow. Seek attention. Explaining the main advantages will maintain their interest. Showing the passion and values which move your project will trigger desire. Clearly stating your goal will briefly lead to an action. Be concise. Be consistent. Create empathy. Value a project without gloating. Trigger desire and lead to action. Believe in yourself and in your project. If you don't, nobody else will. Be insane. Be a genius. If you think you can change the world, you just might. Have a good week.